This week we'll be talking about Wild Hearts, the new EA original and Koei Tecmo Monster Hunter rival coming out soon. Google Stadia joining its cousins in the Google graveyard. Overwatch 2 continued to introduce weird changes to make the game more of a grind. PlayStation Stars being a quote completely well thought out unquote members program. Saudi Arabia planning to spend $13 billion to acquire a leading game publisher. Skull and Bones being stuck at port yet again. Our backlog game impressions for Cyberpunk 2077, God of War, Yakuza 0, Yakuza Like a Dragon, and more on Season 6, Episode 38 of Press X to Start podcast. What's up, everyone? I'm your host, DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka I be doing windmills and Like a Dragon for massive damage. Who else is here?
I am Sean MF Ross,
Ooh, what the MF stand for?
Mad Dog of Shimano.
Oh, look at that. More Japanese. And who else? Who else is here?
It's your boy Jordan, aka JXBot, aka your favorite Night City Choom, aka one of the original members of Toho Clan, Dojo Alliance,
okay.
the Dojima clan within the Toho clan.
You're expelled from the clan.
You have Toho. No. You have Toho. Then you have Omni, which are those assholes over here.
Breaks on the whiteboard.
You got the Omi Alliance over here. You got the Nishiki family over here.
Fuck the Omi Alliance. Dojima clan all the time. Yeah, I'm here.
And last up,
hey, it's me, Avery.
Nailed it.
What set you up, because?
I think you might be watching esports right now. Is that the case, Avery?
No.
He's just done with our antics.
He's like, hey, I got news to talk about. Let's hurry up. All right. Now that you know who we are, Press X Start Podcast is a weekly show where we talk about the latest gaming news, review the biggest games, and give you our thoughts on the games we are playing. Our goal is to expand the video game media landscape through an underserved point of view. If you like what we do and you are watching on YouTube, you can support us by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell. If you are listening, we would appreciate you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or the podcast service you are tuned in on. If you want to join in on our conversation, now listen up, you can by joining our Discord at pressx2start.com/Discord. So
we
do it.
Opening the floodgates?
We're going to do it. Join in and laugh with us. And then you can actually get all the behind the scenes jokes that we just kind of laugh at all the time. It's amazing. It's a good time. All right. Actually, speaking of reviews, because I've said that we're going to do this, I'm going to start doing it. This review comes from I Love @. So I think it's I Love It. It's short and simple. It's sweet. We love it. We appreciate it. The review goes, these guys are hilarious. Thank you. Easy to keep up with in gaming world news. So thank you. I love it. As you know, you can leave us more reviews and we will read it here. As long as it's good.
It doesn't have to be PG-13.
It
could be rated X.
Maybe not.
For a monetization standpoint, I would
yeah.
I would
drop it to like
PG.
We'll just display it on the screen. We won't read it.
It can be rated W, not
if YouTube can look at my screen in the background and see 5 minutes of me playing the Pokemon anime, then it can read the additional words of cursing.
He has a point there. All right. Now that we have all that taken care of, I think it is time for us to jump into the quick hits. Avery, you got any preamble to this, or should I just kind of?
No, at this point, you should just be doing it. You keep doing
it. So normally I'm like, hey, Avery, do the quick hits thing, and he does it. It's an amazing job. But for the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 podcasts, it's just been a thing of oh, this first thing is like a video. Hey, check this out. So yeah, this is a video. EA Originals and Koei Tecmo released their Monster Hunter rival game called Wild Hearts. There was actually some rumors of this maybe a couple weeks ago. So they've actually did a pretty good job of keeping this like pretty much closed down, so no one knew this was coming. It looks pretty interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and just play the I'm gonna play the trailer. Okay, let us get and make sure this is muted because that would be a problem. There we go. Yeah,
Looks beautiful.
so it is definitely muted because no one should be able to hear it so we don't get a copyright strike because those things are a pain. But so Wild Hearts is developed by Omega Force, which is um they make the Dynasty Warriors games. So
Mm.
this is actually a big step from them doing a Monster Hunter game versus like the normal Muso kind of thing. I haven't played their games in a very long time, so I don't know how it's evolved to current time. Avery, have you spent any time in the recent Dynasty Warrior games?
I have played over the last 5 or 6 years. I played the Hyrule Warriors games. I didn't play the sequel to that. I played the Persona 5 Strikers version.
Mhm.
I also dabbled for a couple of minutes in the Fire Emblem one. I think
Yeah.
they also did Stranger of Paradise, but no, did I? No, that was a different team.
Oh.
I'm
Okay.
confused. It's the Dynasty Warriors formula is solid, and when they lean into the franchise that they're basing it on, it really sings. However,
Yeah.
sometimes it just feels off. Like I like Persona 5 Strikers, that's because I like the Persona part of it. I think the
Mhm.
translation of a Persona 5 aesthetic and world onto a Muso game isn't that fun because it's literally you running from room to room fighting enemies instead of being like
Mm.
the other
Right.
Musou games, which is like I here's a big field of enemies, let you navigate to find each engagement. Instead, it's like we're trying to make Persona dungeons, so I guess we put 10 enemies in this room, but like a Persona dungeon, you need to navigate to that room, and that's pretty boring. That being
Yeah.
said, they're fun and solid, and I enjoy playing them.
Okay. Yeah, so in this trailer, you see a couple things that makes it unique from Monster Hunter, as in this like building kind of aesthetic that's happening. The world itself is like kind of like a mystic kind of Japanese aesthetic, but then you have this
Mm.
cool build mechanic that is going to set it apart from Monster Hunter. It looks really cool. As you saw earlier in the trailer, it is going to be a three-person team game kinda thing instead of 4, because Monster Hunter did 4, right?
Hmm?
That was right? It was 3.
What do you mean?
Uh, you could play in a team of,
Yes,
4 or
yes.
4 okay, yeah. So this is going the Destiny route, that's what every time I see, like, three-person team, I think Destiny. Um, yeah, this it looks really interesting. I think this is a good showing for the first trailer. It shows a lot of things you can do in the game. And then I think the biggest thing to this is that this is actually coming out in February 17th. So this is actually really, really, really quick.
What's the
Um,
point of building? Is there like a siege component of it? Like, are you gonna? Is like a horde mode?
We don't
Why
have
do you build?
full.
I as far as I can tell, it's not building in the oh I need to build a building as in Fortnite. It seems to be instead of you carrying around like items like in a Monster Hunter, it's like okay, I'm just going to build this trap here and build
yeah,
this trap there. It's I think the idea is it's going to be pre-built objects to use in
That you
battle
can place
instead
down.
of a more creative build anything you want situation.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's just a animation that justifies the items you're bringing into battle. So
Mhm.
in the trailer, you saw like a kind of makeshift wooden bomb thing that had like little spikes that would like
Yeah, I
click
saw that.
in.
With timers, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
timer. Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah. And then there was also um it's like a wooden pillar that comes up, and if you climb up to the top, you can grab the little item in the top, and it's like a little parachute, not parachute, like a glider that you can
Yeah.
use to
Mhm.
get higher up. So I mean, it's really cool ideas. I think we're gonna see more of this either this week or soon. So that's gonna be cool. I'm gonna definitely keep an eye out for that. I mean, I'm interested in this. I think because most of us played Monster Hunter World when it came out a couple years ago, and we all had a good time with it. I think for
I
me,
played
my
it in less than an hour.
oh, never mind.
I
Well,
do not like Monster Hunter.
Oh. Well, I enjoyed it. I think my issue with it when I played it was the controls. It was very complicated, but
That's your
again, like
issue with every game.
no, I like complexity when it comes to controls. I just think that
Ninety
it's give
percent of
and
your
take.
90% of your criticism are I don't like this gameplay.
No, that's true. That's true. But I think when it comes to controls, I am very I'm not flexible when it comes to that. So like when certain things don't work and I can't remap the controls, that bothers me. And I think
So you're not adaptable.
yeah, I mean it depends. It depends. It
Mhm.
depends. Um
I was doing a bit. I didn't really care about this criticism.
Move on,
I
DJ.
love Avery's honesty. But yeah, I'm saying all this to say that Monster Hunter, I understood that I came into that game with it being years of
Yeah,
you
an
know
established style.
Mhm.
exactly. So I'll be interested to see how this game works and how it controls and stuff. So I'll keep my head up for this. All right, that was number one. Avery, what's number two?
Actually doing my job again. Cool. Let's
Yes.
do it. I've been thrown off again, so I need to reorient everything. Hey everyone, it's me, Avery. I'm doing the quick hits again. Sorry. Hopefully Donald doesn't fall and I'll be on there next week and whatever. But uh anyway, our first story is from The Verge and pretty much every news outlet. But I'm reading from The Verge. I'm reading from Jay Peters and Alex Krantz. Google Stadia is shutting down. Google is refunding all Stadia purchases, hardware, software, and DLC. Members of the Stadia team will be carrying this work forward in other departments at Google. So it's pretty much them saying, "Hey, we're shutting down the group, but no one, for the most part, is getting fired, and we're going to make sure that anyone who spent money on us is who wants it is getting their money back." There's also I have a couple of addendums to the story. Uh, uh, One is from Kotaku, one is from VGC, and one is from IGN. So the three horsemen of my news coverage. The VGC story is Ubisoft, Bungie, and IO confirmed confirmed Stadia salvage plans. Is that from Andy Robinson? This is pretty much some of the bigger supporters of Stadia realizing that this is going to fuck our very small customer base on that. So we're going to see if we can't do things to make a transition going forward.
Mm.
In regards to games like Destiny, where Destiny is built in such a way that I'm not necessarily sure how that works, but Destiny's progression system, cross progression system, should easily mitigate this. That being said, there could be other issues going forward in terms of like currency and such like that. The Kotaku stories is game devs and Stadia employees alike were blindsided by the sudden shutdown, which is the equivalent of most of the people who worked on or with Stadia found out it got shut down the day it got shut down. This wasn't a thing where we're going to wind down things. This is a thing. There were multiple developers who were actively like, "Oh, we had a Stadia launch this Thursday."
Yeah.
Stadia crash ended on the Wednesday. But Destiny Bungie has also openly talked about how they were using Stadia as a work from home like in between, and it allowed them to play, build their games with
Mm.
ease for wherever people in the company were, and it was a development tool. So we'll see what's going forward with
Well,
that.
it's not going away completely. Just the customer facing side of it. The technology they said they're still going to use in the
Well,
background for various
well,
things.
yes, but that's a situation where I'm Google. I'm going to now charge you
Ah,
money
true.
for this. So this is very much a situation where if I'm Bungie, I go to PlayStation and say, "Hey, this service that we were using, we also have a cloud-based service in our repertoire. Is it a way for us to reconfigure elements of that for dev?"
Mm.
Which will probably be a good idea. And then the final story from my Three Horsemen is that this is the it's very telling of what Stadia is as a brand. This is from George Yang. Google reportedly passed on a Stadia-exclusive follow-up to Death Stranding,
Mm.
which
This is hilarious.
I don't
Bruh.
understand.
Like
I
that'd have been a killer app.
Exactly. That's why I find it hilarious. But Avery, you go ahead
No,
and
my only confusion is that like, what do you mean by follow-up to Death Stranding? Because all of my knowledge of the Death Stranding IP indicates that it is a Sony-owned and controlled IP. So how could Google then go to publish a spin-off of the Death Stranding? Like Google couldn't have polished a Death Stranding 2, if that makes sense.
I think it was.
Um,
I think this article title is kind of misleading because I think it was just a Kojima game,
Right.
not a
Yeah.
like direct sequel or like a
Remember,
spinoff to Death
Okay, that
Stranding.
makes sense. That makes more
Kojima,
sense.
Yeah.
Kojima is partnering with Xbox for a cloud game themselves. I wonder if this may have been the same one they were discussing. 'Cause
Oh, I
that
didn't
is
even
still a
think
thing
about that.
going
That's
on
a
now.
wait, say it again.
Kojima was partnering with Xbox Cloud Services for a game that's been
Oh
in
yeah, yeah, yeah,
works
yeah.
for like quite some time now.
Oh, he
But I
just
wonder if
probably
that was
shifted it over there.
I
that
don't know. That might
lines
have been the
up.
same game.
That makes sense.
I did not
But yeah,
think about that.
Google Stadia is shutting down. Rip Bozo. Who would have seen this coming? Everyone. It was a false platform from the very beginning. Shout out to Sean for being its one supporter out of a million.
Apparently, I'm gonna get back about 157 for that founders bundle
Oh,
and
that's good.
$20 for that Google Claw, that controller claw
There
attachment.
were some other articles I was talking about. Google was blaming Xbox, or at least attributed like Xbox's cloud services, like as a competitor, that may have led to the increased competition in that
Then
market.
come harder. I mean, they have the
Yeah,
money.
That
exactly.
is that is bull. Like I saw those articles as well. I didn't pull them because it's literally like
But
you
it was
don't
Google
need.
saying that.
Yeah, I know, but you don't have to be a video game analyst to recognize where Google went wrong with
Mhm.
Stadia. It's like one, you launched pre-pandemic, which pretty much meant the main audience for cloud-based gaming disappeared out of the ether
Dead air.
when people didn't need to leave their house, which means if I don't need to leave my house, why am I paying for a cloud service when I have a console which will play the games better? B, they didn't have their own original games. To the
Right.
Hideo Kojima point, like there was nothing unique beyond the promise of the service.
They killed their first party studio.
Yeah, to bring people to the service. 3, they didn't launch with majority of their highly touted features. The YouTube integration, which was the like killer thing that one like even gotten me to be like, okay, this is super interesting,
Yep,
didn't
I
even
thought that
come
was
with
cool
it.
too.
And then
Yeah.
4, the lineup of games they had, you could get on other systems, and
Yeah.
they didn't. I hate subscription services. I think they're bad. But even then, like, you can't get me to buy X game for the 3rd time on this cloud service when, hey, lo and behold, it disappeared and that game disappeared with it too. So it's like.
And their messaging was unclear because a lot of people thought you needed a subscription to use the service at all.
Right.
Yeah. And there was no real incentive to getting a game on Stadia versus getting the game.
I never purchased anything other than I think I purchased Killer Queen Black.
Okay, yeah.
But that's only because you can only play that in certain arcades across the US. So
Yeah,
this was the first
yeah.
time you could play it at home, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah, it is what it
Yeah,
is, man.
yeah. I think Avery said it best. Like I got nothing to say for this.
This is one of those things that the writing's been on the tea leaves. Google Stadia existed for like 3 years, right?
Yeah.
About that, yeah.
Roughly.
The writing's been on the tea leaves for like the first year of the service. Like it's. I will applaud
Before it
Google
even
for
launched,
not.
man.
Yeah, I will applaud Google for not immediately pulling the plug, but this. It is what it is.
It's
Okay.
hilarious being on the subreddits, and there were people just like not trying to accept that it was a possibility.
I wonder what happens to. I mean, Luna is another one, but what Amazon did was bundle Luna with Prime. So I think Google they
Yeah.
just didn't bundle it with something else to really propel it forward. It's just so dependent on this.
They also
essence.
tried to
Do
compete.
you use
with,
Google Chrome? You can get Google Stadia if you use Google Chrome.
Oh,
They
thank
also
you.
tried to
Nice.
compete with.
I use Google Drive too. Ah.
There you go.
Apple has Apple Arcade where you're paying like $5 a month. Google put more money behind their Play Pass for gaming for your mobile games than they did Stadia. So they were kind of all over the place
Shooting
with their
themselves in the foot.
messaging.
Well, yeah, Google is like it's very clear from a departmental standpoint that no one at Google talks to each other. Because I'm sitting here watching the grand exodus of Twitch creators to YouTube gaming, which while it has its benefits, is a worse platform than Twitch, despite all the tomfoolery that Twitch is going through right now.
Yeah.
and the only reason they're really moving is because of the bag. But like the most
Yeah.
touted features of this like, if I'm the head of YouTube gaming, I'm like, hey, Google and Google Stadia, get that shit rolling quicker, because nothing would be more of an incentive to switch over from Twitch
Oh
would be the idea that, like, oh man, my favorite content creator Fusli is playing Valorant right now. Oh,
On
I
Stadia.
can on
Yeah.
not even on Stadia. Oh, I can buy Valorant from like things like that.
While I'm
Yeah,
watching
I
his
can play
stream,
Valorant right now after like, that would be so incredible, but
there's
no,
no
they
waiting
don't
for it to
they don't
download.
have
It
that.
just loads up. Yo, they drop a
Yeah.
bag.
Yeah. Oh,
Mm,
man.
But I'm not a marketing genius. In fact, I am awful. If
I
I
am
was a marketing genius,
just a man.
we would only be seeing Devil May Cry games. That's it. Uh,
And the occasional Parasite Eve to make Sean happy.
no, I
You know
wouldn't
what?
waste the resources on Parasite Eve. I played the third birthday on my phone.
It's
I'm not gonna
not the
forgive you for
same
that.
thing. You
Anyway, moving on to our next story. This is from the PC Gamer. This is from Tyler Culp. New Overwatch 2 accounts have to unlock old heroes too. So, in my world of being super excited for Overwatch 2, once again, I'm being hit in the face, cold cocked, if you will, with really weird news that indicates to me that any excitement for this game going free to play was not a smart idea, and Overwatch 2 probably would have benefited from just launching like Overwatch 1 and having the exact same model. But
launch it
who
at
am I to judge?
$40 or
It's
some
going to be
shit.
great on Game Pass. Uh, the
Yeah, that's
the
actually very true.
okay, so there are 2 points of news. One, Overwatch 2 is launching a first time user experience, an FTUE, if you will, and that experience is when you load up the game, it's only going to come with a limited hero pool, and most of its core features not not unlocked. So you're playing you're getting less content than people at Overwatch 1 got at launch. Their reasoning is that their Overwatch 1 had bloated to such a high level that there was a paralysis of choice in regards to new
It's
user
overwhelming
experiences
for
that
new
it
people.
over them, and I would say that is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
ultimately
Adding.
they revealed that if you want the full features of Overwatch 1, you need to grind up to about 100 games, which translates to about
Couple
over
days.
a couple of days, over at least I think 40 hours of gameplay, I
Yeah, I
believe.
think it's like 40 hours, yeah.
Not It's not great unless you're like me, Marcus.
Mm.
I think Sean as well, who DJ as well, who own Overwatch 1, where this isn't even a thing we're gonna even have to deal with. But it pretty much
No.
means that playing
People like
your
me,
it's
don't.
going
Right, yeah.
you're going to get a nerfed experience, and you're going to be the test case of whether this was a smart decision.
I'm
I
being,
wonder.
I'm being voluntold. Am I being thrown to District 11 over here?
I mean,
I don't want to. I'll do it. I'll do it.
I'm wondering if this oddly made sales of Overwatch 1 surge so people
Yeah.
could.
well,
Yeah.
they were 100%. Like the Watch Point
Yeah.
Pass is like, I usually give
Mm.
free to play games a pass when they sell a premium version of the game outright. It depends on the game. There's an Apex Collector's Edition where at this point, if you buy it, has so much fucking value in it that it's like it's a no-brainer if you're a brand new player to Apex to spend the $60 on this. But this is one of those things where the Watch Point Pass is like, it's like the battle pass for the first season, like a couple of brand new skins. It's like $40, and it circumvents all this shit on there. And it's like, this is. I think it's bad.
Yes. Totally agree.
Uh,
Like, okay.
okay, no, you continue.
Oh. Um yeah, this is just a really bad look for a game that a lot of people were excited for. Uh yeah, it's one of those things where I think the reasoning behind this is they understand how big Overwatch 2 is going to be, or they understand how big
It should
how
be.
yeah, that's what they think it's going to be a big thing. So they are trying to correct the financial mistake of giving people so many characters from Overwatch 1. So they're trying to make it more of a monetization thing. And I think we as gamers are we're educated enough to kind of see through that, and it's like, no, this is a bad look. Like another thing too is I forget where I heard this from, but like when it comes to content and content strategy and stuff, like whenever you give your audience something, you have to make sure that that one thing you give them, you don't take away in the future. Because if
Yeah.
you do that, it will convince them that, oh, you're taking stuff away from me. Like, I'm not going to support you anymore because you're taking stuff away from me. So for them to make this move, they're not dumb. They have really smart marketing people. They have, really smart developers and like there's smart people over there. So they must be really confident that like, yeah, we're gonna take the stuff away from people, but it's gonna be fine in the long run. And I'm really interested to see what happens with Overwatch 2 in the long run. Because I think another thing to consider is that the first person shooter strategy, whatever market is completely different now compared to when Overwatch 1 came out. So they're gonna have a lot more competition from jump than what they did for Overwatch 1.
Like the hero
Uh,
shooters.
Yeah.
well, here's weird. It's weird. It's Overwatch 2. Then early reviews for Overwatch 2 are starting to come out, and the consensus is, oh man, it's Overwatch, it's great, it's
Yeah.
fun, but the grindy aspect of it being games of service is not great. Which is there are two ways this game is going to go. Because the third way, like the massive success Overwatch 1 hype, is never going to happen. Like that set has ship has
Sailed.
sailed, and too much time has passed in between
Yeah.
this game's announcement and this game to play to have those things. It's very apparent that it got massive views when it was first announced for Twitch, and then immediately hit like a million players, some million views or some bullshit, like something unnecessarily high, and then immediately dropped down to its normal popularity average on the platform, which indicates to me sort of how the community views this game. It's either going to be a solid game that's going to be able to sustain itself as a first person shooter in
First person.
and grandfathered into the Xbox Game Pass system. Microsoft is just going to keep pumping money into it so they can have the feather on the cap of we also have Overwatch on our platform, or it could go the way of Halo Infinite. And stick with me here is that they're releasing their multiplayer suite first, and then its single player will come
Oh,
out next year.
yeah.
And with all the changes to Overwatch 2, the only thing that makes it Overwatch 2 is that single player, which we're not getting till next year. So
Mhm.
while I'm confident that they have thought out their content strategy and rollout and like things that we are going to get as the game rolls out over the next couple of seasons, whether it will be able to sustain that level of excitement until the story mode essentially drops, we'll see.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think another thing to consider is that they have to go really heavy on the monetization scheme for the multiplayer because how are you going to monetize the single player content unless it's you need these characters to play the game? But yeah, that just wouldn't feel good.
Or they
So,
just charge for the single
But
player.
that's
They just charge like a flat rate or like $40 or something.
oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
well,
Oh,
that's
that would feel so grimy.
well, no, that's my big issue right now. Also bringing up Halo Infinite is the idea that okay, I don't think this has really been talked about if they're charging for the single player as its own suite, or is it just going to be wrapped into the free to play nature of the game?
Right, right, right. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Or you need, like you said, like with Halo Infinite, it was like if you had Game Pass, you had access to the single player. If you didn't have Game Pass, you had the option to buy the single player. That could be
I think
like, for Overwatch, if you have Game Pass, you get the
I
single player
think
for free.
the
Or
big issue
quarterly.
with that is Halo. You're not playing it on any other console other than Xbox or with P or you're playing it PC. Overwatch is on every other platform, and
Mhm.
I think Xbox is probably next to Switch, one of the smaller platforms. So like you get that disconnect of you can play it on Game Pass. I don't have a Game Pass machine. Overwatch is a multiplayer suite. I don't think just getting Game Pass so I can play it xCloud version is the smart the play anyone wants to make. So it's
It gets weird. Yeah.
yeah, it's a curious decision that eventually is going to have to happen with that going forward. Let's
Is there
move
going to
to
be cross progression?
Yeah, I believe
between
so.
Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2, yes. between every versions of Overwatch, I'm not sure. I think they've talked about that in the past, but I'm not. But don't quote me on like you being able to pick up a Switch copy of Overwatch and then have all your content from your
Your
PS
account being
PS
shared
Yeah.
between
yeah.
multiple devices.
Isn't there? I thought there was cross progression for Overwatch 1.
There is cross progression between Overwatch 1 because
Okay.
when
Okay.
if I turn on Overwatch 2 the 4th, I'm gonna have all my shit from Overwatch
That's
1.
not what I'm talking about. I'm saying,
No,
let's
no,
say you
no.
got
I-
Game Pass and you unlock all the characters, quote unquote, and you go
Yeah,
to
yeah.
PlayStation to play your copy.
Like you like sharing your account between devices, essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
If I'm like
That's
if
what
I'm
Destiny does.
if I'm well, it's the difference between Destiny is that like there's not a for the most part an actual paywall of like content to go forward. If
Mhm.
I'm Xbox, I don't know, because if I'm Xbox and I'm making the PR move, I'm like, who gives a shit? Just give it out for free. I'm Xbox trying to keep this game alive and keep our services alive. I don't make that move.
We'll see. We'll see in 2 days.
Okay, so our next story is from VGC. This is from Chris Scullion. PlayStation is giving top stars members priority in customer support. Players
What
are
is that?
criticizing the move, which implies other users will get poorer service. This is, before we go into this is one of those. This is a.
I get it.
Look, here's the thing. The breakdown of it is, and this is what I have
Real quick, Avery, move over some.
Oh my bad.
Yeah, you're good.
This is one of those headlines. I read it. I'm like, I wonder what this better customer service is. Or they're actually doing anything new? Or they're giving you more features? No, they're just moving you up further in a queue, which to me is like we're finding PlayStation Stars already has a bad name, and I agree with it. It's not a great service.
Terrible name.
The name is an issue. It's the actual it's the actual NFT of the service that's like an issue that has to be dealt with. But this part of the branding, I don't see as an issue, and I think it's people making a mountain out of a molehill, and it will quickly pass over.
This is the norm in every other industry.
Exactly.
It sounds effed up at first, but then I thought about it as you were talking about. I'm like, if you go to the movies, you got AMC A-list. You can skip the line to go to the concession stand. If you go,
you go to a amusement park. You buy
an airline.
There's difference.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that.
Yeah.
Let DJ, you go first.
Oh no, you go for it. I've talked.
Well, I mean, like, so I've had a good experience with PlayStation's customer service. There was an incident I had about a couple years ago to which my account was hacked and somebody used it to purchase Last of Us Part 2 and Miles Morales.
Did you like it?
No, well, like I do not like having my financial information.
No. I mean, did you actually play the games?
I told them on the podcast before. It shit was. I mean, like it's like don't Like I recently bought them. Like no, like don't take my shit. I called PlayStation up. They rectified it immediately. Like they gave my money back and boom, because I played 0 minutes of it and they could tell what was going on. So like this, reputation of PlayStation's customer service being terrible. I can't speak for myself. I think that was a good experience. My thing is, I spent $500 on a PS5. I buy PlayStation Plus. I bought many applications on my PlayStation. How much more money do I need to spend to have a baseline customer service treatment?
Well,
like it just feels like if you add another layer, you're forcing me to pay like customer service. Like, okay, so I own a Toyota. I own a Scion, and I need to get a service. There are many different types of Scions. There are many different types of Toyotas, Lexus, and all that. We all go to the same service station.
Yeah.
There is no feature or like if I show up there, there is no like secondary premium members type thing. Because we are all
that you know of.
But for the most part, we're all treated the same. for the most part, we are all treated the same. Like this customer service, I have to spend more money to get to get my issues rectified.
Okay.
Doesn't seem right.
Okay. One, I think for the most part, you are going for the worst scenario. I want to point out that this Stars is only in Japan right now, in Asia, and people aren't even really getting into the nitty gritty of what this means beyond just lines in the queue. You just gave us a baseline of service. Jordan, I had your exact same experience with my PlayStation account about 2 years ago when someone took it to play Fortnite, bought a whole bunch of shit with Fortnite. I still have it.
Remember that.
I'm pretty. My shit got solved. It took about a couple of days. That's because it happened over the weekend, so I'm not expecting someone at PlayStation to be up and to deal with that. But as far as I can tell, that is the baseline, and I didn't even have to wait for much time.
Right.
I don't, unless we go like, if we're going at the idea the customer service is like it at that level going forward, I don't necessarily see what is the big deal, especially when a power user is having an issue. Like I get like the difference between like I spend an ungodly amount of money on PlayStation because it's my primary platform. If I'm having an issue and they have to take one of two calls at a certain time, it makes sense to take the person who's spending the most amount of time and effort on the platform over the other. I get where if we were existing in a PlayStation ecosystem where getting on hold in customer service was a 10-hour wait and someone was able to skip to the front of the line, I'd be pissed. But we're living in a situation where either it's immediate or at the very least 30 to 45 minutes. This is one of those things where when they release in America, we're definitely going to have to see how this affects their customer service situation in regards to time. But in the current build of customer service that we exist in now, I don't see it. It shouldn't be an issue.
Well, if like 1 second, John, I'm sorry. Like if to respond to Avery, if if they employ the technology of like setting up the customer service to which it is need, like based on need, like a need is a person that spends more time on PlayStation, able to mark that down, they're able to determine how much time they spend on applications, number of trophies, like having that type of need-based customer service. I'm cool with that. But and to your original point, yeah, this is only Japan. We do not know what it looks like in the United States just yet. But this does seem to be like, all right, they are equating need by how much people are spending in terms of monetary, like money, via this star service. I would love like that. That would be very smart if they did it by a need-based system. That is,
Well,
it's good for both us and them. But if there's a monetary behind it, then that's when I'm like,
it is. Like here's the thing, it is both of those things.
Yeah.
Like the way PlayStation Stars works is it's a tier list, and you can increase your tier list by spending money, aka I'm buying a lot of PlayStation games, or spending time and getting a lot of trophies. As far as I can tell from what we've been released and what at least what this article talks about, those are two avenues. It's faster to level up with money than it is to earn trophies, especially when we live in an ecosystem where I can buy My Name is Mayo and get a platinum trophy in 30 seconds.
Right.
I thought that was a euphemism for white man. But Jordan, let me equate it like this, and I don't think you'll feel offended at their proposed level of service. I don't know who your cell phone provider is or your cable provider is, but me, you, DJ, Avery, we are residential customers, quote unquote. They have commercial customers who get better service than us because they have a service level agreement and they just pay a certain amount of money. And I don't think we fret over them having priority over us because they're spending X amount of dollars and, whatever.
Well, I mean, that we have a example of that right now. If you look at like, for example, IGN or GameSpot or like, those kind of service, like if they call a PlayStation with a problem, PlayStation's going to answer almost immediately versus they they will put us on
That's
hold.
a commercial level.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, I think I don't like this from the side of the idea of, okay, these people are more important. Like when you guys are
They
talking about the whole
are.
need-based thing,
You are more
not
fucking important.
necessarily. I mean, because like the thing is, okay,
Are you
the
gonna
whole-
give
the
more
whole-
support to somebody that's gonna spend X amount of dollars with you, or somebody who's barely spending any money? This is like strip club. This is like a strip club.
This is becoming a normative, subjective argument here. Like, yes, they have the
Yeah.
ability to do so,
I
but
would not want to
there will
patronize
be
your
customer
businesses.
feedback.
Here's the
Like,
thing.
yeah, you can do
Here's
it,
the
but
here's
As
the
a person who's supported PlayStation for a very long time, I've had the pleasure of never having to call PlayStation support, right?
Mhm.
Because I usually will find a solution before I get to the point of like, well, I guess you got to call PlayStation.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, it's like, man, this would suck if like because I don't have any experience with the actual support. I don't know how long the wait times are, that stuff. I'm just kind of going off of what you guys are saying, which doesn't seem bad. So like if the wait times are like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, that's fine. If this program doesn't change that, that's fine. But if this program ends up putting 20 extra minutes, 30 extra minutes on because a bunch of people like something happened with the PlayStation Network, so a bunch of people are calling PlayStation Network. So you have a mixture of stars people
That's not the
and
only way to contact
normal
them, though.
people. Huh?
That's not the only way to contact them, though.
Mail
And
them?
they may
But
hire.
I'm just giving an example of like people who are calling customer service,
Mm.
you know, with a question.
You know,
And then you have a thing where it's like the stars people are in front. And then that actually gets to the weird thing is like, okay, well, if the star people in front, like what's the order of those people? Whatever. That's another rabbit hole. But like it to me, it would feel bad for a kid who wants to play, I don't know, fucking Fortnite or something on their PlayStation. They can't. Now they're sitting in the line waiting for like 2 hours just to like
This is going to
get the
be an
stuff right.
invisible thing that's not even going to affect you. It's not going to
Exactly.
be like you're on the
It's
phone.
not.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, like it'll be very difficult to track. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's very
right, yeah.
difficult to
This is
track.
this
But
is
just knowing this, if I ever run into a 6-hour wait, it's like, fuck, should have got stalled.
Here's the thing. A, Stars is a free program. You can sign up
Yeah.
at all time. And
Yeah,
if you're
right.
like DJ, in your case, you're always on your PlayStation. You're always buying stuff on your PlayStation.
It's not gonna bother me at all. Like
This is that quote unquote a benefit to you as a
Exactly.
situation. I'm actually here's the thing. No cap. I wish it with all the bullshit of Stars, and I hate the NFT part of it. Is not even Shuhei can sell me on it. I wish they'd had this program when buying the PlayStation 5 was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Because like
that
yeah.
would be smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's also a minor bit of Stars news that came out and confirmed that you are getting PlayStation credit as well for Stars. So like you are earning credit to the store and things like that. So it isn't just the fungible tokens and the tier 4. You get a you get a nominal less time when it comes to customer support.
I can't wait to get my 70 cents for spending $70 on God of War Ragnarok. Oh my gosh.
You gave Atreus a hug. Here's a star.
All right. Anyone else have anything else to say about the Immaculate PlayStation Stars program?
Nah, we can move on. I belabored my point.
All right. Well, before we move on to Saudi Arabia doing some Saudi things, is that appropriate?
I mean,
Yes,
Yeah,
I think
okay.
it's fine. I don't think you're in bad taste.
Okay, cool. Great.
As long as you're not calling them Saudis, then I think you're fine.
Okay. All right, cool. Nailed it.
Mute Sean right quick, because I see it in his eyes, him trying to say something.
man, we need that. We need a mute Sean button.
Well, hey, listener, if you are watching us or listening to us and you're enjoying the content so far, we ask that you do two things. Well, actually, one. You can do the two things. That'd be great. But if you're watching us, please like the video, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. We need you to do those three things to keep us going. And you want to keep us going because if you keep us going. Yeah, the other thing you can do is if you're listening to us, you can leave a review, and maybe that review would get read on our podcast. So we ask for your help, and you will do it because you're under our spell of mind control.
Yeah, go watch Hocus Pocus.
Mind
Anyway, next story.
Avery.
Oh yeah, we're back. Cool beans. Yeah. So our next story is from BGC. This is from Andy Robinson. Saudi Arabia says it will spend $13 billion to acquire a leading gaming publisher. The country's Savvy Games Group claims it will invest a further $37.8 billion in the games industry.
Crazy, B.
Yeah. So,
Games
what's
industry
everyone's guess?
acquisitions. That's crazy.
I'm gonna say PlayStation.
No,
You wild
no,
for
they
that.
could. You
They,
can't. You can't buy
A,
PlayStation.
they
37
can't. They'd
billion.
have to buy Sony proper, and they're not buying
Yeah,
Sony
yeah.
proper for 38 billion.
No, I mean like
Oh man.
people are just trying their best to speculate which one is it
Yeah.
by doing
Yeah.
their background math. But when it comes to these type of acquisitions, there's a lot of bidding war behind it. So
Yeah.
whatever publisher they like they decide to buy. Remember before the acquisition, the Activision Blizzard proposed acquisition by Microsoft. Activision went on record by saying we marketed ourselves to Amazon, marketed ourselves to Meta, marketed ourselves to Sony at one point. So like there's a bidding process associated with it to which
Yeah.
shareholders
Yeah.
are going to expect a certain amount of return for the current shares that they have. So if it can appreciate to 30, 40, 50% more than what they purchased those shares for, they're making their money back. In terms of who, no, I mean you can only guess. I mean we kind of rolled out EA and Take Two because those are like a 20, $30 billion range.
Yeah.
We talked about what like
Square.
Square at one point,
Yeah,
possibly
Square.
Ubi. Even though they have a market cap of Ubi's like a 4 point something $billion market cap. A Square like is a $5 billion market cap where it is currently. That can appreciate over time within a bidding war. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah. Hey, and also we talked about Saudi Arabia is a theocracy. Like they are a theocratic government with a long list of documented human rights issues, documented
Yep.
by official third party organizations,
Shit.
be it Human Rights Watch.
They
So
complain about crunch and development now. Shit.
well, I mean, like it's all about expression by developers, right? Like the content of their work and that having any potential impact by the Saudi Arabian government, which is behind the digital entity that intends to make this purchase. So,
Yeah.
them-
I definitely don't think that whoever they buy, it's going to dramatically change
No,
the
it can't.
output of that
Because
publisher game.
the
Like,
minute it does, the value of what they bought, and they bought it because this is a new oil rush to them. So they
yeah,
bought it
yeah,
for its value. They're not going to actively do anything, which is
right.
very hypocritical, to
Yeah.
alter the values of the companies they make. Because guess what? If people start talking shit about your company from behind the scenes, and your games start coming out and they're not fucking immaculate, then suddenly that 13 billion you spent starts
Shit.
looking like a 7.8 billion loss.
Yeah.
well, I mean, like it's because I'm not trying to say there's official. Well, there is some precedent in a government, being involved with video game purchases or government being involved with censorship in general. Like the reason behind ESRB was like this consolidated effort between all gaming companies to, not censor their games, but have an official system that protects consumers. And this is back in the
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
So the
So
government doesn't
I
take
do
a
not
step in, yeah.
want Saudi Arabia to have like their government having any impact on the content of whatever game comes out. But it's hard to say there's any limiters that prevent that. I mean, like, yeah, we can say that it will be a negative effect by us consumers by not buying it, but there's very little barriers for them to
That-
do it in the first place.
Yeah,
Which is my concern.
Us being limiters of buying is not going to happen. If they buy a big publisher and the big publisher just never talks about being owned by Saudi Arabia, and the only people who mention it being Saudi Arabia are video games journalists who probably aren't, who only reach maybe a tenth of the
Yeah.
audience, it's not going to change any sales whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like people are
Yeah.
going to buy if it's like I'm making up fucking things to just prove a point. People are going to buy a Call of Duty to buy a Call of Duty. Like not it could be made by the worst person in the world, and like dudes in their mom's basement who buy one game a year are just going to buy Call of Duty. To Jordan's point, yeah, it's 100% a real thing that if they're owned by if they're Saudi controlled, that there is a level of control that Saudi could put on their games. I'm just operating under the logic that if there's any control, it's in their own country. It's that hey, we won't see X, Y, and Z. Like hey, this game is featuring Muslim women acting. It's
the portrayal of women in general.
Yeah.
Honest. I mean,
well, I'm just trying to use the correct word because I learned this word recently. It's haram. Like it's like we've got Muslim women acting haram. Like that probably won't show up in Saudi Arabia, but that will be, and everywhere else that will be fine. And like the best, like honestly, the best thing they could do like I don't want this purchase to go through. I'm of the mindset with Jordan that Saudi Arabia has way too many skeletons in their closet to be allowed to do anything in the wider world without cleaning that shit out. And what's never going to happen because, hey, they make a lot of money selling oil and everyone likes to get that oil. This is just them trying to create another codependency with the rest of the world, which is going to be harder because video games are luxury and it's a whole can of worms. Long story being short, if this purchase happens, I ultimately don't think anything's going to happen beyond, and this is the only upside, is that, okay, whatever publisher this is going to get an influx of cash to start doing shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's your guess? What's everyone's guess? Mine's is Square.
Mine is
Square Enix.
Ubisoft.
Okay.
Square or Ubisoft. It's gonna be one hell of a bidding war.
Yeah. I did hear talks of well, Sean, what's your guess?
Riot Games.
Right.
Riot's owned by Tencent. That is impossible.
As
what
we
if
know.
they just buy Tencent?
at 38 billion, that is impossible.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think another thing, like, hey listener, if you're listening, you're like, why is Saudi Arabia getting into the games business? As Avery said, like, yeah, it's because they're trying to get another foothold into the world economy, and they see that games is a growing bigger and bigger each year. And it's the same thing with Google as to why they started Google Stadia. But the other thing you have to consider is that, oil was a big thing for them, but because there is a push for, electric vehicles and all that stuff, they see the tea leaves and understand that oil's not going to be a big thing for them in the future. So they have to kind of
They've
change their
already started
strategy.
investing in electric infrastructure as well.
See, there you go. So, like, they're smart about their money, so they're trying to put their money in somewhere else that they think is going to be more profitable for them. And that's ultimately why I don't think they are in this to make games. They're in this to invest.
money,
And like you can see that in the title of this article where they're saying, yeah, they plan on investing what, like 37 billion or whatever. So it's not a thing of like, oh yeah, we want to make games too of our crown prince doing things like Prince of Persia. No, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. So we'll see. Well, actually, we won't see because it's going to be a thing of they bought them. We're going to see like, oh, okay, well, I guess Final Fantasy
they
16
currently
is going to be
own
weird.
other. I'm not sure if they currently
They've-
own or they have a majority interest in certain other game companies.
Yeah,
and we have not seen any decisions
right.
peter down.
Yep.
Okay, and our final story. This is near and dear to my heart, and I'm ready to reopen this litigation again. So get your talking points ready, Donald. This is from Kotaku.com. This is Ethan Gotch. Ubisoft's big 2022 pirate blockbuster delayed yet again. Lo and behold, Skull and Bones delayed. Who would have believed it? Who would have thought it?
For our audio listeners, Avery just popped open a giant thing of water, just laying back, and waiting for Donald to explain his way out this bullshit.
Well,
no. For clarification, Donald capes, like, I don't use this term lightly. Donald caped for this game so hard. He's not going to buy it. He has no interest in it. But he's like, oh man, everything about this is great. He put it on his fantasy graph. Like at first, I was like, "Oh no, he put it on the fantasy graph." So he's huffing the copium. But at a certain point, I was like, these arguments are getting to a point where he's like, "Okay,
kind of crazy."
Well, sometimes we've been podcasting for a long time, and then there's times where you see like, oh, there's a potential of making this really good content. And when you have those opportunities, you kind of just have to lean into it. So sometimes it means playing the villain. Sometimes it means playing the Ubisoft Skull and Bones
You're not
supporter.
the Riddler. Shut up.
no.
Yeah. So I'm glad for a delay because I think with the beta, Sean played it. He had his issues. They needed to push the game. They needed to push the game, and they needed to, make some decisions. I think because it's about a 6-month delay.
About a 6-month delay. It's been delayed to the end of this fiscal year.
Yes. Right. Okay. So yeah, so longer.
So if there's any delay was happening, so this is not a delay that we need polishing. This is a delay that we still need this game to come out at a date. This is how much time we're giving you.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, like, it's it. I what I said in the Discord chat, and you could be a listener. You could be a part of that Discord chat if you join our Discord at pressx2start.com/discord. As I said in that chat, um, I'll just be interested to see what the final game looks like at this point.
Fucking bullshit. Okay. Uh, yeah, I'm not surprised this game is being delayed.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I think my original thoughts about this game being released because they have contractual agreements that just have to be dealt with. I still think it's true. I still think the game is a flawed decision that it's coming into a marketplace where there's already a better version of the game existing, which is a weird statement to say about Sea of Thieves.
You never know. There's a possibility of this being a contender for Game of the Year next year. You know what I mean?
Sorry, bro.
I'll make a point that for all of Donald's caping, I recently looked at our fantasy draft. He took Felon Bones off it, and like he took it off because it got delayed. But but I think he took it off because like, oh, this game is not going to be great. I thought
Avery. I'm gonna level with you. You should know I took it off not because it got delayed. I made that drop before the news happened. I was like, oh, well, I guess that kind of works out.
I tried to give you the benefit of the doubt to save yourself.
Terrible.
All right. Well, I think that has been another fantastic quick hits. All right. Well, that has been our podcast. We hope you enjoyed listening / watching us as we enjoyed being watched and listened to. Please, don't take that kinky. That's just, it's what YouTube is. If you missed any details, you can find all that and more on our website at pressx2start.com. If you would do the pleasure, please like this video. Please hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. If you are listening, please leave us a review. We would greatly appreciate that on the podcast service you are currently listening to. I mean, I think I feel like there's another line in here that I say for the ending. We hope you enjoyed. I think that's it. I think we covered all the things we need to cover. Again, our website at pressx2start.com. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, but it's just kind of a hold there. We're on YouTube. Oh, you know what? Speaking of YouTube, we are at 104 subscribers. We greatly appreciate that. I kind of feel like you guys just kind of stopped subscribing after we hit the 100 mark. But remember, when we hit that, I was like, the next thing is going to be 1 million. So I'm going to need you guys to keep it up.
I'm going to reach out to my contacts in North Korea. They'll subscribe.
Oh, North Korea? Wait, do we want
for,
that?
For legal reasons, what Sean is saying is a joke.
Thank you, Avery.
Since we don't got Cameron Douglas on,
I mean,
Avery has to be our legal representation.
I mean, what we don't need is this audio being flagged of us having North Korean ties, and then have I don't know, the NSA decide that we need to start listening to this podcast, and then prosecuting all the illegal shit that Sean does.
Right? It'll be a problem because it's going to be more than one person listening. So, if they subscribe or like the podcast, it kind of might work out. Mine is the whole prosecuting Sean.
Hey, I'm willing to go to jail for 10 years, just like Kiryu for the podcast. It's fine.
I'm just saying, I love Sean, but I will throw this man under the bus.
Oh, shit.
Hey, you know what?
If it's a local and state situation, I have his back. But if it's a federal situation, I'm throwing you under the bus.
You trying to get some RICO charges.
Oh, man, we are funny. Yeah, we're Press X Start Podcast. Until next time, where we talk about more games. You be safe, you have fun, you continue playing the games, and you wash your hands because COVID is not done with you or us. No, you with you. All right, guys, bye.
Bye.